Want to talk some SEC?
Let's do it.
You went to media days. Now, certainly opinions will change once we start seeing some of these teams play games, right? With
Yeah, we're all
all the
guessing
moving
right
parts
now.
now
Yeah.
that come with college football teams. But right now, heading into the season, who do you think has the best football team in the SEC?
LSU.
No hesitation. I like
I
it.
mean, it's my. I mean, I've been talking about it and looking at it and researching it for a long time now. So LSU's my pick. I don't think it's head and shoulders. I think that to me, I look at it. I put four teams at the top. I'll do it in like tiers. But going into the year, I have LSU, Bama, so I have in the SEC championship, and Georgia, Texas. I kind of have them in that top tier. I know the media voted Texas, I think 96 first place votes, Georgia second, 44. I think Bama was third, LSU was fourth, all receiving first place votes. So I have the same four. I just have a different order. And I have LSU, a couple of reasons. I like the additions they made on defense. They got a guy from Florida named Jack Pyburn, a defensive end, who's really good, very strong, sturdy, more of a run stopper. And then they got a cat who played opposite Marvin Jones Jr. from Florida State, Patrick Payton, who I like a lot. Now, I like Patrick Payton more so in 23. I thought in 23, and part of that was he was playing opposite Jared Verse. I thought he was elite. Last year, numbers weren't quite as good. I think he's got a chance to be really good this year. You know, this is also Whit Weeks. Ted, I don't know how much you've watched of him. You'd love him as a linebacker.
Yep, good.
He had that nasty leg break against Baylor in the bowl game. All signs are he's good, he's healthy. So part of that's that. I don't know where they're going to play Harold Perkins, but he's almost like a throw-in player at this point. And, a couple of years ago, when he was a true freshman getting 4 sacks against Arkansas, I mean, a lot of dum-dums like myself thought going into his sophomore year he'd be the best player in the SEC. Now, he hadn't lived up to that, and he got hurt last year and missed pretty much the entire season. But now Blake Baker's in his second year as the D coordinator. He's a linebackers coach too. I think he's going to have some flexibility to play him in some different spots. So I start their defense because I think everybody kind of points to Garrett Nussmeier as the most experienced quarterback, really coming back in the SEC. And I'd put him, if I were ranking my QBs, he'd be my QB1 in the SEC. I like a lot about him. I think he can anticipate throws as well as anybody. He got a little bit of a gunslinger mentality. Probably needs to take care of the football a little bit more. But, they added a guy named Barry Brown from Kentucky who's really good receiver. We know about Nick Anderson. It goes without saying. And they've got another guy, Aaron Anderson, rock number one, really good little slot player that they have. I think that offense is going to be good. I also really like the running back from Oklahoma City, Durham. The back. I think he's really good. Now, their offensive line, they got to reshape it, but I trust my old teammate, Hot Sauce Davis, Brad Davis. He's going to get that line where they need to be. So LSU's my pick to win it, but it's not like I think they're head and shoulders better than everybody else. I think Brian Kelly also year 4. I think he's a good football coach. They've made it to the SEC championship game, won his first season. They haven't since. I think they get back there here this season. After that first year, I'll just tell you, I'm not as high on South Carolina. I was surprised the media had them 5th. That was probably one of the biggest shocks to me. I am a fan of Lenore Sellers, and we're all fans of Coach Beamer. He's great. But they lost so much defensively. They lost multiple picks on their D-line, a linebacker in Dabo Williams, who's a flat-out dog, and a safety in Nicky Manwari, who, I don't know if you guys have seen Nicky Manwari, but, you saw him whenever he came here and played.
It's hard to miss him, dude.
6'3", 230, 4'4", 43-inch vertical, and it translates to the field, not just a numbers guy, like a football player. So, I think South Carolina losing that much. They lose Rocket Sanders. I think they take a little bit of a slide back. I think for me, I think Ole Miss, They lost a lot too last season. I think they take a step back. The teams that next tier for me, I'll tell you the team there's two teams that I'm really high on leaving SEC Media Days, higher on than I was going in. Florida, I think Florida's going to be good. I think Florida's going to be really good. Their offensive line is going to be stacked. Gabe, it'll be one of the best. And I think Alabama, Florida, A&M. I think that's probably my top three offensive lines in the league heading into next year. But I think DJ Lagway is the real deal. They got depth at running back. They got some dudes on that defense. They're going to be really good. Their schedule, much like Oklahoma, is brutal. So I don't know what that translates to a wins perspective, but they're going to be good. And then A&M. I think A&M's just kind of no one's really talking about them.
Forgotten team this year, man.
No one's talking about Texas A&M, which is right where Mike Elko would love to be. But if you look at what they're bringing back, they got a lot coming back. And they added a player, KC Concepcion from NC State, who is excellent. He is really, really good receiver. At NC State, they played him a running back. They played him a slot. They played him outside. They moved him all over. He's kind of their gadget guy. I think Colin Klein, the OC there in College Station, I think he's going to have some fun with him. And I could see the Aggies being pretty good. The other thing, too, I don't think that it's been formally announced like Coach V, but Mike Elko has been on record saying he's going to have much more of a hand in the defensive play calling. So that's his baby. That's his forte. I mean, the guy when he was a coordinator, was outstanding, especially right there in College Station. I think that he recognizes, and they took that slide at the end of the season. The Auburn game, their defense was awful. The bowl game against USC, when they had that massive lead that they gave up, defense really struggled. I think Mike Elko wants to prove and put more of his imprint on that defense and prove that that's still his area of expertise. So that would be the two teams. I would say the teams that I'm lower on than most people. South Carolina, Ole Miss. Two teams I may be higher on than some people, Florida and A&M.
We'll get you back to the interview. But first, three things matter in banking: service, service, and service. And First Fidelity Bank's commitment to exceptional service is more than a promise. It's their foundation. FFB has been by your side for over a century, and they are honored to be a part of your journey. Banking isn't about where you've been, it's about where you are headed. Open an account at an award-winning bank today at ffb.com. At First Fidelity Bank, we go where you go. And go to opolisclothing.com and use promo code TED for 10% off our podcast merchandise and the best OU gear out there. That's opolisclothing.com and use promo code TED. Buttery soft and 10% off.
Do not skip this ad. Ridge is doing its legendary sweepstakes for the fifth time, and this time it is insane. Two lucky winners will get to choose between a $300,000 Lamborghini Huracan Storado, that's right, Gabe, and a $150,000 Hennessy Velociraptor, or $100,000 in cash. So you can head to ridge.com, use code OKBreakdown at checkout for 10% off your order and a chance to win Ridge's biggest sweepstakes ever. And by now, you know you need to be using the Ridge wallet. It's amazing, and Ridge has free shipping, a 99-day risk-free trial, and a lifetime warranty on all their products. So it's literally the last wallet you'll ever have to buy. So if you're ready to upgrade your wallet and maybe your ride, head to ridge.com and use code OKBreakdown at checkout for 10% off your order and a chance to win Ridge's biggest sweepstakes ever, a Lamborghini Huracan Storado or a Hennessy Velociraptor, or you just take the $100,000 in cash. No purchase necessary to enter, but every dollar you spend gets you more entries. That's ridge.com. Use code OKBreakdown. After you purchase, they're going to ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them we sent you.
All right, back to the interview.
How about a couple of thoughts on Texas?
The Horns.
Because not surprisingly, but picked number one by a whole bunch of people.
96 people.
Yeah, and that's just the SEC media voting. They get the national attention too. How do you think this squad is going to compare to what they had last year?
They're going to be really good on defense. D tackle is a little bit thin. They had those two big monsters that were high picks 2 years ago. They replaced them well this past year with a couple of good guys. That would be an area of weakness, and there's not many areas of weakness on that defense. I mean, they've got legitimate 3 All-American, probably preseason All-Americans, and one at each level. Colin Simmons is the lead off the edge. I think Anthony Hill Jr. is the best defensive player in college football heading into the season. I'll just say it. I think that the guy is that good. And I love Michael Taff on the back end. I mean, he is really smart and a better athlete than he gets credit for. I feel like all we ever talk about is how smart he is. The guy he's an athlete. He's an athlete too. He can make plays on the football. So
why would you need to say that he's an athlete, Dusty?
Well, I just think that sometimes he only gets talked about for being smart. He's more than
working
smart.
hard, smart. Yeah.
What is it? Blue collar,
lunch pail guy.
Sneaky athletic.
Sneaky
athletic. So I think Texas is going to be a team that wins with defense. I think, their offensive line, you got 4 new starters coming in. Now they had some guys with the Gooseby kid came in late in the season for Banks. You get Campbell back, who's been there. But, I think Jake Majors, his departure is a huge loss. And Gabe, I'm sure, has talked about this or will talk about it. I mean, he had over 50 starts at Texas center. Okay. Like, they basically had a coach on the field that was doing everything for everybody. And now you got to kind of start over at that spot. So, look, Coach Flood's a really good coach. They're going to be good. I just don't. I think that the O-line takes a little step back. I'll be intrigued at running back. C.J. Baxter was supposed to be that dude, and he gets hurt. I mean, if he gets back to the guy that we saw parts of 23 season, they're going to be really good at running back again with him and Wisner. You got a lot of new pieces of receiver. But I guess I look at all that and I think Steve Sarkisian is outstanding. I mean, he is. I love his offense. I love the run game that they have. I mean, they want to go outside zone. I love the way he motions. I love the way he shifts. I love the way he uses tight ends. Gunnar Helm's another guy that's going to be a key loss that they got to replace. But I mean, really, and I've waited till the end. The real question is Arch Manning. Like, what is he going to be? I think he's going to be a good quarterback. I think that it is unfair to him, the expectation and hype that has come in for him when he really hasn't started a meaningful game. I know he had the 2 starts last year when Ewers was banged up. He's come in a couple of different games, short yardage situations, but really the only true quarterback reps in a meaningful game that we've seen him have was against Georgia when they played him in the regular season, and it did not go well. Now, that's not me here to say I think it's going to go bad. I think Arch is very athletic. I think he throws the ball well. He's done everything exceptional since he's been there. And the way he carries himself, the way he works, the teammate that he is. I thought it was a masterclass the way he handled the media. Dude, it looked like Elvis Presley walked into the building when he walked in. Like, I felt bad for him. Like, now he's been prepped for this his whole life. And to all the people around him's credit, they've prepped him well. And I was a nose tackle. I didn't have all this fanfare. I don't know how it'd be hard to deal with what he has to deal with. I mean, it's crazy, guys. Like, it's not, I wasn't there, but I was told the only other players at SEC Media Days that has rivaled that type of fanfare was Tim Tebow and Johnny Manziel. And the biggest difference between those two, they had already proven it on the field. That was Johnny Manziel after winning a Heisman, and he was in trouble for the autograph signing. That was Tim Tebow after he had won a national championship and he had made his big, speech that he made, like those were like already etched in stone college football Hall of Famers now coming back. And that was the fanfare. Arch Manning he hasn't gotten the fanfare based off of his play. So we've never really seen anything quite like this that I can remember in college football since I've been covering it or playing in it. And I think it's going to be intriguing. How does he deal with failure? How does he deal with adversity? I'm intrigued to find out. I think the guy's going to wind up being a really good player, but being the odds-on favorite to win the Heisman and his team being the number one pick in Vegas to win the national championship, damn. Can the dude breathe? Like, I mean, I'm not trying to have a pity party for Arch Manning, but dang.
Legit start's going to be at Ohio State.
Right. And can you imagine if he wins that game?
Oh,
I mean,
gosh,
it's just so. But I think Texas is gonna be really good, dude. Steve Sarkisian, and I love all of our Oklahoma fans to the nth degree, and all the people support you guys, and you guys have a ton of listeners. So anybody listening to this, which there will be a lot of people listening, may not like me.
I'm very complimentary of Sarkisian on here. It's
he's
hard
a
not
stud,
to be.
and he's great to me. He's awesome to me, and I like him a lot. I like what he's about, and he has done an excellent job at Texas, and they're not going away. Like, they're going to continue to be good for a while. But I think that's great because guess what? Oklahoma could be just as good too. Ted, we played in an era when we were playing for a national title, then Texas was playing for a national title. Like, it's not crazy to think that just because Texas is really good doesn't mean that Oklahoma can't be really good. I'm not sitting here telling OU fans they should be rooting for Texas to be good. And I know how they feel about that. But I think we can give credit where credit's due. And the reality is Steve Sarkisian's done a hell of a job. And I don't think they're going to take some massive step back. I don't have them winning the league, but I think they're still going to be really good in 2025.
You also went to ACC Media Days.
Yes, Charlotte.
A lot of people very high on Clemson, but there's only one way we can start this conversation. You got to interview Belichick, man. How was it?
It was awesome. Not gonna lie,
it
was cool. He was great. We got him for it was probably 17, 18 minutes. He was really good. Called me by my name about 3 or 4 times in the interview, which is cool. We're sitting there and he kept referring to me as Dusty. And, my biggest takeaway is I think he really is enjoying the development piece. I think at his core, he's a teacher. I think he really, the nuance of technique, of scheme, and I think he can do that even more so now than he could before. One thing was interesting. He said this. Bill O'Brien said it too when I talked to him, which, by the way, the ACC, you've also got Frank Reich, who's the head coach at Stanford. 3 different head coaches that were in the NFL as head coaches, currently head coaching in the ACC. But they both said to me, I thought this was fascinating. And I went more in depth with O'Brien about it. But Belichick said, we have more time with these college kids than we do in the NFL with the NFL players. And year round, we're with them. We can teach them. We can mold them. We can shape them. And it's not like that in the NFL. And I really thought about it. And he's right. And it's since, Ted, you and I have been out of the league. Maybe you were in the league, Gabe. But when Ted and I played in the NFL, or really, I'll take it back. When we played in college, in the summertime in particular, the position coaches could be nowhere around. We could barely talk to them. it was legitimately only strengthening and conditioning. Even when we would go pass rush, it was the strength and conditioning coaches that would put us through pass rush. Whereas now they get 2 days with position coaches in the summer. They can meet with them. They can be on the field with them. It's constant. When Ted and I were in the NFL, and this may have been you too, Gabe, but we spent a lot more time at the facility. Then I don't know what year it was, the CBA changed and they started restricting all that. So it's fascinating.
Right when I was done.
Yes. Right. Like you could, like they made all these rules and
Couldn't do 2 days. Like
all
that
kinds
era
of stuff.
was unlimited. Once you got to training camp, they could set whatever schedule they wanted.
Right. And so now it's interesting because in college, the coaches have more time, more access, more ability to work with players, which makes sense. A, they're getting paid. B, they're at a time in their life where they need that coaching. That's all really good for them. Whereas the NFL, it's like going the opposite way. Players get to spend more time away, train with their own private trainers, stay at their houses away from the facility. They're there less. And it's just interesting because it was completely opposite, I felt like, when we were playing than it is now. And the more I thought about it, it made sense what Belichick was talking about. So it's still crazy to me that Bill Belichick is going to take the field on that first Labor Day Monday in Chapel Hill, take on TCU, and be the head coach of the North Carolina Tar Heels. Like, I don't even know if that's going to ever really sink in and be normal. I mean, dude's won 8 Super Bowl championships, 6 as a head coach, 2 as a D coordinator. And now he's coaching college football.
Carve up the NCAA rule book and loophole the hell out of somebody at some point during the season with something that we haven't seen.
You know it's coming. I mean, that's what he does. But he was great. I don't know how good they're going to be though.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. I went in, someone asked me before we met with them, said, what do you think? I said 7-5. I had to be, because I saw how good their personnel is. Then after I met with them, I met with this quarterback, Gio Lopez. I start looking at the schedule again. I'm like, well, I could see a path to 9-3. It's Belichick, right? Like, I mean, the one thing, you know, the dude's going to have his team disciplined. They're going to be, I think, fundamentally sound. And schematically, I think they're going to be in a good spot. I just don't know the level of talent of the personnel. That because they have so many new pieces, and a lot of them are kind of guys I don't really know much about. So I'm intrigued with them. But it was
I saw something cool interesting, and this is back whenever all the drama was going on with him and his girlfriend, and there was a picture of him and her standing down on the practice field, and in the background, the players were practicing, and they all had their jerseys were blank. They just had blue and white.
No names.
And my first thought, no names, no numbers, nothing on it. And my first thought was, I think he's doing that so people make it very hard to scout his players when they're trying to get guys from the transfer portal. I didn't know any other reason that they'd be in totally blank jerseys. It looked like a movie shoot or something in the background. It's funny.
It was. I'm sure there's probably all kinds of different, mental gymnastics that he's trying to put his players through. And I'm sure what you're saying too, prevent anyone from finding out any kind of information about his players. It's going to be interesting. By the way, Dabo Swinney, we asked him one question. I think 13 minutes later, he was done with his answer. I think we got in 3 questions in a 20-minute interview, but I don't know how you can't really like that guy.
Yeah.
I really don't. And his
football
football
have a good football team.
Yeah.
There's a chance that's who I picked to win the national title. And it's funny because I think that first game is just massive. I think both those teams have really good football teams there in Death Valley, so it's going to be fun. But I don't know what holes they have. I don't know. it's hard for me to find many holes on their team. They're going to be really, really good. And they kick it off with LSU. They close it out with South Carolina. And, last year, hell, they go 9-3 and still make the playoff by winning the ACC. I don't think there's anybody. I think of the Power Four conferences, how I told you there was four at the top from in the SEC. There's only one at the top in the ACC. I think it's a battle for who's going to play them in Charlotte. Is it Miami? I think Georgia Tech's going to be really good this year. But I think Clemson and the Power Four conferences, they have the biggest gap at the top between 1 and 2. To me, they've separated themselves the most this season. So we'll see if that holds true. But they're going to be – Dabo wasn't pounding his chest saying we're going to be this or be that. But he thinks they're going to have a pretty good football team, and I agree.
Anyone in the Big Ten you really like?
Penn State. I only have one question on Penn State. Can Drew Aller step up in big games? Mm-hmm. My only question. Their offensive line's excellent. Their defensive line is excellent. They just went and got Jim Knowles, which, by the way, I really like Tom Allen at Clemson, too, leaving Penn State going there. But they go and got Jim Knowles to run their defense. I know you love Andy Kolznicki. I know you do.
Yeah, I do.
Who doesn't? They got everything in place.
Those two running backs.
Allen and Singleton are excellent. They went and got Trevor Pena at receiver from Syracuse, is really good. Drew Aller, if you look at the biggest games, he's kind of shrunk in the moments. He played well against Oregon in the Big Ten championship game, but they were never really – it always felt like Oregon was just, keeping them at arm's length. It wasn't like a knockdown, drag out, every possession's got to matter. The one time I thought Drew Aller play elite quarterback in a big game was USC last season. They won that overtime game. And he found his tight end, I believe, a record-setting, I think it was 16, but it felt like it was 37 times. Tyler Warren was a man possessed in that game. I thought he was really good in that game. But when I watched him against Ohio State the last 2 years, now those are good defenses. When I watch him against Michigan, I haven't seen – when I watched him against Notre Dame last year, and part of this is receiver – but how do you not have one completion to a wide receiver in a game? He didn't have one completion in that Notre Dame semifinal loss to a wide receiver. How's that possible?
12 of 23, 135, and a pick.
All to backs and tight ends. Not one to a wide receiver. So, look, his true freshman year, I did their second game of the year against Ohio. And if you remember the first game that year, they played Purdue, and they played Purdue on Fox. I remember watching the game knowing I was going to have them the next week. I remember Joe Klatt going on and on about Drew Aller, and I think he came in for a couple of plays or possession. The starter got hurt. And so that next week I had their game, and I went down the field. I'm like, I got to check this guy out. All right, I got to size him up. And he looked like Paul Bunyan. He's like 6'5". He was like 245, 240. And he's throwing freaking howitzers from the 50 into the end zone like a flick of a wrist. And I was like, damn. Standing there with Tom Luganbill like, holy cow, this guy's amazing. So he's got the measurables. He's got the arm talent. I want to see him, and I'm just curious, can he take that jump in his third year as a starting quarterback? Because the first two, he's been a good player, but he hasn't been a great player in big games. And I think that if he can be, Penn State's got the ingredients to make it 3 straight for the Big Ten. If he can't be, they're going to be good, but they're going to fall short somewhere along the way.
That was a lot of football.
That was a lot of football. A lot of good stuff in there, too.
That's why you bring in Dvoracek for the ball talk, baby.
I was only gonna do like 30 minutes, and here we are. So
And
I'm sorry.
poof, here we are. It happens every time us three are together. This is what we do.
I apologize.
You know
You're
you
good,
don't.
man.
You apologize for nothing. You're the man, dude. Have an awesome last couple of weeks before the season starts. And you have to send me a ton of pictures and videos from the London Dublin trip.
I've just got to find a good Indian
excited
restaurant.
for you.
Now,
Dude,
now
I'll
I've got
send you the ones we went to.
Perfect. I can't wait.
You're the man. Love
All right,
you.
boys. See you.